All right, today we're going to tackle a fundamental algebra formula, but forget about dusty textbooks and boring drills. Nope. We are going to use a really cool fairy tale to break down the square of a binomial. So, I know what you might be thinking. Can a fairy tale, with princes and princesses, actually teach you algebra? Variables, exponents, the whole deal? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. And trust me, this simple little story is a surprisingly powerful tool for remembering a really crucial piece of math. Okay, so let's dive in. Our story begins exactly how you'd expect a fairy tale to start. Once upon a time. First up, let's meet our main character. This is Princess Bai. And of course, every princess needs a prince, right? So here comes Prince Nominal. Now, if you put their names together, yeah, you're probably already getting a pretty big clue about where this is all going. And boom, there it is. Princess Binomial and Prince Nomial, they come together, and when they do, they literally form a binomial. In algebra, that's just a fancy way of saying an expression with two parts, two terms. So our fairy tale couple, they're now one single mathematical thing. Okay, so our characters are together. Now the real fun begins. This is where the magic, or, the math, really starts to happen. Let's see what goes down. So they go off and live in a very special place, the squared house. Now get this, it's not just a house that's shaped like a square. The name is a huge hint. It's in operation. It means our entire binomial is about to get squared. So inside this house, things start to change. First up, our Princess B, she gets squared. That's the first part of the transformation. And you guessed it, the same exact thing happens to Prince Nomial. He gets squared too. But, and this is super important, the story is not over. This is the part that so many people get right, but they almost always forget what happens next. So what happens from their union in this squared house? Well, they have kids, 2 of them to be exact. The first child is described as being just like their mother. And the second child? You got it, just like their father. Now these 2 children, they are the key. They represent that crucial middle part of the formula that everyone forgets. With them, the family is complete, and so is our equation. Okay, so that's a cute story, right? But what does it all mean in math terms? Let's take a step back and actually translate this fairy tale piece by piece into algebra. This is where you'll see just how clever this whole thing is. But first, we need to know what we're even looking at. This story is what's called a mnemonic. And all that is really is a memory trick. It's a device, like a little rhyme or a story, that uses patterns and associations to help you remember something way more easily. So let's map this all out. Princess B and Prince Nomial, those are just our variables, A and B. When they come together, that's the expression, A plus B. The squared house, well, that's the exponent, the little 2, which gives us A plus B squared. And the first part of the result is easy. She gets squared, that's A squared. And he gets squared, that's B squared. But the children, that's the really clever part. See, when you square something, you multiply it by itself, right? So you have A plus B times A plus B. When you multiply that out, you get A times B, and you also get B times A. Those are the 2 children. They're those identical middle terms. Put them together, and you get 2AB. So this story literally turns an abstract formula into a little family you can actually remember. So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear this is way more than just a cute story, right? It's an incredibly effective mnemonic, a memory tool that uses the power of a story to teach a really important math concept. And the final line from the original story says it all, with this really clever play on words. In Portuguese, the mathematical term for this formula is caso notável, which translates to remarkable case. So this story isn't just remarkable, it's literally the story of a remarkable case. So why is this so cool? Well, because this kind of thing actually works. It makes learning fun and engaging. It creates these strong mental hooks that help the idea stick in your brain. You're not just memorizing a string of letters and numbers, you're remembering a story with characters and a plot. And that is so much more memorable than just staring at a formula on a page. And really, this is just a brilliant example of how powerful creative teaching can be. But it does leave us with one last question to think about. We've seen how this story perfectly explains the square of a sum, A plus B squared. But what about the square of a difference? What about A minus B squared? How would our little fairy tale have to change to tell that story? Something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me.